Welcome, everybody, on this lovely equinox day, the beginning of spring. And I guess it's good that we have all this rain to help the greenery become green, being that it is the high desert here. So, we're going to start with the breath today, as always, and move right into the feet. So I want you to take a comfortable seat so that your spine's nice and long, and start to focus on your breath and imagine as you're breathing in, you're pulling that breath all the way down your torso to your pelvic floor. And then as you breathe out, that breath is coming up from the pelvic floor. Like we're imagining, some of you might feel it, but you're at least thinking it, right? So that you breathe with your whole body. And you could even do a meditation on pulling the breath all the way through the bottoms of your feet, right? Breathing literally with your whole body. And while we connect the body and the breath, what I'd like you to do is scan through your body and notice how you're feeling. So notice any places where there's tightness. Notice places where you don't feel anything. Notice any pain or any looseness. You're just kind of checking in and thinking about how you want to feel when we're done. And then before we hop into the feet, what I want you to do after you set your intention, you're going to take your hands onto your legs or the floor and start to make some small circles with the body. And as you're doing this, you're feeling your butt connected to the floor, and you're noticing how it feels through your whole body. So we had talked before class about what we were going to work on, and a few of you said low back. So notice how that part, or all the parts of your body, feel. But now we're going to stop and go in the other direction. So this is a nice way to wake up and get the energy moving through your body and all the other things, right? Blood and stuff like that. Okay, and again, when you start to feel done with the second direction, you're going to stop and notice how you're feeling. And then you're gonna grab one of your feet. Okay, so I'm gonna move back so you might see my feet. So the first thing I want you to do today is just stretch out your toes a little bit with your hands. So you're using your hands to pull your toes apart from one another. And I know that might be challenging to see on the video. And you're gonna wiggle the toes, and you might even take them in little circles and do a little tug, right? The same way we just did with our body, you're going to do that with your toes. So a couple of times in each direction, a little pull. We're not trying to snap them or crack them, although that may happen, but that's not our goal here, right? And you're gonna go through each toe, and you're gonna keep breathing while you do this. Now, when you're done rolling and pulling, we're going to take your foot up onto your leg, and you're going to use the thumbs on the bottom of your feet and the fingers on the top. And so you could just kind of massage and move the bones and the feet around. You could, I like to go into the center and pull out at a diagonal, so you kind of get a nice little stretch on the connective tissue there. And remember that our feet have more bones than any other part of our body, right? And so they're supposed to have a lot of flexibility. All right, and as you're moving through the toes, the padded part under the toes, through the arch, make sure you do the heel. Now, eventually, we're going to come to a place where you're going to come in the back side of the foot and you're going to lace your fingers. Now, some of us won't have enough space. If that's you, you can just hold on to your fingers. And then once you lace your fingers, you're going to take the whole foot, moving your ankle a couple of times in each direction. And notice, does it glide? Does it chug? Does it not move? Now we're going to eventually stop, stretch out your fingers. So when you stretch out your fingers, it stretches out your toes. You're gonna slide your hand out and then pull your toes towards your body. But you're gonna wanna pay attention to your foot staying in line with the lower leg. So some of us pull the foot up towards or pull it down, but you wanna keep the foot in line with the lower leg as you pull the toes towards your body. And you're gonna keep breathing. So now we're getting a stretch on the front of the ankle and the top of the foot. Keep breathing. Then you're gonna press the toes away. You're gonna keep breathing. I'll just keep saying that. All right, now, when you're complete on that side, and there's lots more we could do, we're gonna start there today. Then we're going to go to our second foot, and again, start to stretch the toes, pulling them away from one another, and then start to take each toe in a circle a couple of times in each direction. Still breathing, and you might add a little tug in there. Moving all the toes. Eventually, we're going to bring that foot up onto the leg and start to massage using the fingers on the top of the foot, the thumbs on the bottom, massaging, prodding, pulling, and make sure that you touch all the different parts of your feet as we're going through this, right? Notice if you want to avoid certain areas. And again, after you have done the whole foot, we're going to lace the fingers in the bottom of the foot. And you might be wondering why it's the bottom, but if you go in from the top, there's actually less space. And then you're gonna stretch out your fingers and then start to roll through the ankle a couple of times in each direction. And then eventually, after you do a few times in each direction, we're gonna move through the top of the foot, side to side, front to back, then stretch out the fingers and slide your hand out. And this is where we're gonna pull the toes towards the body, keeping that foot in line with the lower leg, still breathing. And we're gonna press away. And this is the time where you'd like check in and see, like, is there anything else that my feet need? Now, before we move on, what I want you to do is take your feet flat on the floor, and you're just gonna use your fingers now. You're gonna slide your fingers from the ankle, like you might even go circles around your ankle, and you're gonna go up the lower leg, circle around the knee, and then front, back, and sides of the thigh up towards the pelvis. And when you're done with that side, move into the second side, around the ankle, up the lower leg, around the knee, up the upper leg, getting all the different surface areas. Then we're going to find our tennis balls. And again, as you're like doing those sweeping motions, if you need anything else, you're gonna add them in. You're gonna take your tennis balls and we're gonna bend both knees and you're gonna go in front of the sits bones. I know, it's really warm in here. And once you're in front of the sits bones, you're going to roll over, just kind of to get some pressure on the bottom part of the pelvis and the tennis ball. And I like to move front to back and side to side at the same time, kind of helping to stretch out those connectors of the hamstrings into the pelvis, still breathing. Now, when you start to feel complete with that, we're gonna move the tennis balls out a little bit. Same movement, front to back, side to side. I'm feeling like all of you know this routine, but it's still helpful. That's why we keep doing it, right? Now, from there, we're gonna move to the outside of the hips. And here, you're gonna decide. You can either move side to side, or I'm actually gonna spend a little time on each side. So taking the tennis ball right into your glute And you can control your body weight pressing into the ball by using, your elbow and or your foot on the ground to lift your body up so there's not as much body weight going into the tennis ball. You're going to keep breathing. And eventually, we'll move to the second side. And you notice, similarities, differences, pains. I'd say any ticklishness, but that's never happened to me while I'm here. Now, when you're done with that side, and I know like we're all moving at our own pace, so you might stay a little bit longer. You're going to take your tennis balls, lean forward and put them at the low back, and then lean your body into them. And again, moving front to back, side to side, whatever feels good on the tennis balls and your body, right? So this, a number of you talked about your low back. So just notice, like I can feel, before I even lean back, I can feel that release starting to happen. So sometimes we don't have to move very much, right? And it's definitely an exploration with what works for you. And then you're going to take about another, few seconds and see if there's anything else that you want to do with your lower body, hips, pelvis, legs, feet, with the tennis balls. And then when you're done, we're going to meet on our hands and knees. And so if you're in a place where your floor is a little bit firm, you might have a blanket that you put under your knees or another folded mat. And then as you get yourself onto your hands and knees, you want to make sure that your wrists are slightly in front of your shoulders, your knees are slightly in back of your hips, and both the hands and knees are shoulder and hip width apart. Now you're going to engage those lower abdominals. And so at first, what I want you to do, you're going to round the back, right, and feel those lower abdominals connect, feel your low back stretching. And on the inhale, you're going to come to a flat back. So a lot of people do cat and cow here, but we're going to explore flat back on the inhale, rounded back on the exhale. And it might not seem like a lot of movement, but there's a lot happening here. And if we want to, we can't work the low back without working the low part of the front of the torso, right? It's all connected. So eventually we're going to come to a place where we have a flat back again, and we're going to inhale here and then exhale down to child's pose. You're going to move at your own pace. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down to child's pose. Noticing all the wonderful sensations in your body as you're moving. And again, next time we come up to a flat back, you're going to shift your weight, right? Notice how you're using your hands. You're going to stretch out the right leg and turn the toes under. So here we're stretching not only the calf and the back of the leg, but you're stretching through your feet, right? So the toes are connected to the floor or the mat, and then you're reaching the heel away and you're still breathing. On the next breath, you're going to take that knee down, do the second leg. And again, toes are turned under. You're reaching the heel towards the ground. Still breathing, long, smooth breaths. And we're going to take that knee down. Now here we are, hands and knees. And what I want you to do, I just want you to make some circles with your hips. Right, side to side, kind of arcing the hips back and around. You can be as high or as low towards the ground as you want to. And this movement gives us great information, right? You're noticing sensation, you're noticing how your body moves or doesn't move. And then we're going to come to a place in the middle and come down onto our elbows. So the elbows are going to be shoulder distance apart or a little bit wider, and your hands are flat on the ground. And connect those forearms and hands down to the ground. You're going to turn your toes under. We're going to come into a modified down dog. And walk your feet in just a smidge, and then we're going to pedal through the feet. So again, nice big stretch through the calves, the feet, and the back of the legs. You're going to keep breathing. Also, there's some wonderful stuff happening in our armpits and our mammary glands. Keep breathing. All right, now very carefully, we're going to bring the knees back to the ground. You're going to come up onto your hands, and now I want you to walk your hands a little bit forward in front of your shoulders, like maybe 4 to 6 inches. Now the inhale, you're going to bring your hips forward and open up your chest. And exhale, you're going to come back into your child's pose. And when you come back into the child's pose, it would be natural for most of us to have our hands slide back a little bit. So inhale forward, keep those shoulders soft, away from the ears. Exhale back into our child's pose. And if it feels like too much for you, you can shorten that movement, right? You can just come forward a little. You can go back to tabletop or child's pose. You make the pose work for you, right? You find a way that it feels good in your body. One more time. Forward and back. And once you're in child's pose, you're going to walk your hands back, and we're going to come up to a kneeling position. Now here, again, I want you to turn your toes under, right, so that your heels are sticking up, your body is upright, right, your thighs are perpendicular to the ground, hands are at the sides. Now you're going to take your right hand in front and look at that hand. And we do this lots of times. You're going to only move your arm up as far as your eyes can still follow it. Inhale there, exhale, back to neutral, and then alternate sides. Believe it or not, this is a wonderful exercise for the back body. I mean, it's doing great things for the head, neck, and shoulders as well. But notice what's happening in your back body as you're moving your arms. One more time on your second side. And then you're going to pause. Notice how you're feeling. If you like to use blocks, you're going to grab them and put them towards the front of your mat. We're going to step forward with our left foot and come into a modified lunge with your knee down. And so here, we're just going to stay forward for a couple of breaths. And again, notice any sensation that you're feeling. You're going to keep breathing, no forcing. You want to make sure that that back knee is behind your hip and the front knee is over the ankle. You're still breathing. Now we're going to turn the right toes underneath, so your back toes underneath, and lift that knee up off the ground. And this is where some of you might really like blocks, because what we're going to do is straighten that front leg and bend the front knee. So the back leg is pretty much staying straight, although if you need to bend, you're going to. You're working with your breath. So inhale is the straight front leg, exhale is the bending of the knee. You could do this with that back knee on the ground as well, right? So of course you're making the pose work for you. Now next time that knee is bent, the front knee, you're going to isometrically engage your legs and bring your hands up onto your thigh and lift the body up. Right? Find your balance. Your feet should be hip width apart. long, smooth breaths. Then you might reach those arms up. On the inhale, you're going to bring the left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale again, both arms come up. And then next breath, right arm forward, left arm back. We're going to do that again, alternating which arm comes in front. And next time we're in neutral, you're going to exhale your hands down. You're going to step that back foot forward, and then take your left foot and step back. And then very gently, you're going to place that left knee down on the ground. And again, that knee is behind your hip, right knee over the ankle. We're going to pause here for a couple of breaths. And you might even picture your breath going right into that hip flexor. You're just breathing and noticing what is. If you find yourself like thinking about your grocery list, bring it back to the breath. Now, when you're ready, again, we're going to turn those left toes under. We're going to lift the knee up. You're going to start to bend and straighten that front leg. With your breath, inhale, straight leg. Exhale, right knee bends. And again, you could do it with your knee on the ground. You decide. Working with your breath. Now next time your front knee is bent, again, you're going to isometrically pull your feet towards one another, hands up onto your thigh. Find your balance, feet hip width apart, legs distance long. Reach those arms up towards the sky. And then with your breath, on the exhale, extend the arms, one arm forward, one arm back. Inhale back to center. Exhale, change sides. And next time you finish your second side, again, we're going to pause in neutral, both arms up towards the sky. Nice big inhale, exhale. We're going to take the hands down and step that back foot forward. So now we're in our forward bend, and with your breath, you'll inhale halfway up and exhale a little bit more deeply into your forward bend. Doing that a few times, noticing how your body feels as you're moving on. The next inhale, let's come all the way up. And then once you're up, you're going to find a tennis ball. So you're going to connect with your breath, feel your feet on the ground, and we're going to roll through one foot on the tennis ball at a time. Although I've seen some interesting things with people rolling both feet at the same time. And you're still breathing. And just notice, like we've given the feet a lot of attention so far. Notice how they're feeling. We're going to switch sides now. And of course, if your feet feel like they need more, when we're done, you can pull out your tennis balls and do some more work at it. All right, so you're rolling the second side. Notice how they're feeling. Now we're going to take 2 tennis balls, and you're going to bring those tennis balls about hip distance apart, and we're going to place them under the front of the feet, so the padded part under the toes. Now you're going to stretch out your toes, right? And I'll do it with my hands because nobody can probably see my feet but me, right? So your toes are stretched out. You're compressing the tennis balls to the best of your ability with the front of your feet. And now you're going to bend your knees. So inhale, straight legs. Exhale, bend the knees. And you're just noticing what happens as you move. For some of us, having our feet lifted like that, it makes it so that there's not much movement. But you might get a nice stretch. Also notice what happens in your knees. They may want to go in or out. We want them to go forward if possible, depending on the direction our feet are pointed. All right, next time you come up, we're going to roll the tennis balls to the heels, And remember that when the tennis balls are under the heels, you want a little bit of yellow protruding behind. And again, when we do this, you're weighted evenly, front of the foot, back of the foot. So our weight is not all in the toes or all in the heels. It's as even as possible. So again, now we're going to add in arms. Inhale, arms up in line with the ears. Exhale down into your chair position. Continuing to move with your breath. Inhale is up. Exhale is down. If it doesn't work with the arms, you could keep them on your thighs. So, and just notice the difference in how it feels in your body with the different placement of the tennis balls. Now, next time we come down into our chair, I want you to take a comfortable seat because we're going to stay for a little while, okay? And just like we did when we were in our lunge, I want you to inhale, right arm forward, left arm back. Up, inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, second side. And you're going to alternate how your body twists. If it gets to be too much on your quads, you're going to stand up and do it. Okay? Now, next time you finish your second side, we're going to inhale up, exhale those arms down. How's everybody doing, okay? You have a little bit more in you? Now, we're going to switch it up. So the inhale is going to be arms up in line with the ears. Exhale, we're going to come into our little chair and a twist. Inhale, you're going to straighten your legs, arms come up. Exhale down. So same movement, but we're adding in, extending in between. Moving with your breath. Last time on the second side. And when you come up, you'll relax your hands down onto your thighs. Roll through those shoulders, either one at a time or both at the same time. Notice how you're feeling. And now we're going to add in a forward bend. So hands are going to be on the thighs. Inhale, body up. Exhale, slide down. And you're just going to inhale up and exhale, slide down, keeping your hands on your legs. And of course, if having the tennis balls under your feet make it at all unsafe, at any point you get rid of them, right? Now, next time you come up, I think you're all going to like this. We've done this before. I don't think we've done it in a while. You're going to keep one tennis ball close by. All right. So here we are. We're at the front of our mat. You might have your blocks close by. You have a tennis ball close by. We're going to inhale up, exhale, come into our forward bend. And then we're going to step back with your right foot. And we're going to take your tennis ball and you're going to place it under the padded part of your left foot and try to compress it. Right? And again, notice what happens with your toes, and we're on the padded part. The toes, I mean, depending on the size of your foot, the toes are not on the tennis ball. And you're using those 4 points of the feet, base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe, both sides of the heels. If it's safe, you're going to start to bring your hands up onto your thigh. Very interesting to do while you're talking. Keep breathing. And I'd say arm exercises, but no, we're just going to hold it, breathe. Now, we're going to exhale, hands down. We're going to take that tennis ball out. We're going to step back into a plank, and then bend your knees and slide back into a down dog. And in our down dog, and if you prefer it on the elbows like we did earlier, you can do that. We're going to pedal through the feet. And so you're bringing one heel down as you come to the toes of the other foot. Now we're going to lift the right leg up and sweep that forward. And here we are now on our lunge. On our second side, you're going to find your tennis ball. Place it under the padded part of the foot. Take your time. Feet are still hip width apart. Rounding down with all 4 points of the foot. Engaging your legs. And then possibly bringing your hands up onto your thigh. Still breathing. Again, as you start to feel ready, whoa, good timing. Hands come down. We're gonna take the tennis ball out and again, step that right foot back into our plank. Now here, you're gonna bend your knees, slide back into your down dog. So now exhale is gonna be in down dog. Inhale, you're gonna come to plank or up dog or go through both. So inhale forward, exhale back. One more time. And once you're in your down dog, again, we're gonna pedal through our feet. And as you're pedaling, you're gonna start to walk your feet forward, which for some of us becomes quite challenging. And then as you're in your forward bend, we're going to either hold on to your big toes with your second and third finger, or you're gonna walk your hands under your feet so that your toes touch the back of your wrists. Some of you might need to bend your knees, and some of you might need to have your hands on your shins. Inhale, extend the body. Exhale, move in towards your legs. Inhale, lengthen the body. Exhale, come in towards the legs, and it might be a tiny, tiny movement. Moving with your breath. After your next exhale, you're going to carefully undo your hands, take them onto your legs, and inhale, slide up. And once we're standing again, you're going to roll through the shoulders one more time. Now from here, I want you to find a comfortable stance, and you might have soft knees. We're going to work on the head and neck for a moment. So on an exhale, we're going to bring the chin towards the chest. And you're just going to let the weight of your head be what helps stretch the back of the neck and the upper back body. Now with the head forward, we're going to start to roll the shoulders. So inhale, shoulders up towards the ear. Exhale, take the shoulders back. You're going to pause, and then bring your shoulders around in the opposite direction. Inhale, shoulders are still up, but the exhale, now your arms come forward. And after your next exhale, we'll stop moving the arms. Inhale, lift up the head. And now, so you start with your head upright, and of course you're only doing this if this doesn't cause you pain. If you get any sort of pain in your head or neck, you're going to stop. Inhale, head up, exhale, left ear towards the left shoulder. And again, we're letting the body weight, I know a lot of people like to tug on their head, but we're just going to let the weight of our 8 to 12 pound head be the body weight that we use, right? Now you're going to see that right arm, you're going to start to take it in big circles as your head is gently resting over to the left side. Moving with your breath. We're going to pause and then take the arm in the opposite direction. And next time your hand is down, on the inhale, we're going to lift up the head. And then exhale, bring it over to the right shoulder. And again, we're just going to pause for a moment, keep breathing. The weight of the head is doing the work. And even if you don't feel it, something is happening, I guarantee. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to make some big circles with your left arm. After a few times, you stop and go in the opposite direction. Again, eventually you come to a place where the hand stops. On the inhale, we're going to lift the head. Last thing I want to do here, you're going to inhale, head up. Exhale, the chin forward. Now, with the chin forward, you're going to reach the left ear towards the left shoulder. So it's a little bit of a different stretch because your chin is down. And you're moving your head at the angle. Inhale, head back to center, chin is still forward. Exhale, second side. I don't know about all of you, but I'm getting a nice little stretch in my neck here. Back to the center, head comes up on the inhale, and just wiggle through or roll through your shoulders, whatever feels good to release the upper body. And then we're going to make our way down into a little bit of a squat. And so you could just come into a squat, you could sit on a block, whatever is comfortable for you. You're gonna get yourself into a squat. Now, you might have a block under your butt, you might have one under your hands. You're gonna have the left hand forward, and you're gonna take that right arm, reach it up, and you could bring it onto, let's bring it onto the knee, and gently twist to the right side. And I'm actually using my hand to assist opening that shoulder. Keep breathing. On an inhale, lengthen your spine and bring that right hand to center, and then you're gonna take the left hand again up onto your knee or your thigh, and using that hand to help us twist over to the left. Keep breathing. Nice big inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, come forward. Now we're gonna come down to the ground. So if you have something underneath you, you can get rid of it. We're gonna have the bottoms of our feet pointing towards one another. You're gonna use your thumbs, right? And now I want you to run your thumb. So we're starting at the inside of the heel, and you're gonna run your thumbs up. So that correlates with our spine. So if you are having low back pain, a nice spot to work, and I know this is hard to show on the video, but it's right above the inside of the heel. That would be the low back. So press your fingers into there right now and notice, especially those of you who talked about low back pain before we started, like, no, here. So the spine runs right here. So this would be like the neck, and this would be the low back. Okay, and I don't know, sorry on video if y'all can't see it. But y'all know me, you can ask. But it's feeling really good. My fingers aren't wanting to move anywhere right now. Because it not only feels good on my feet, it feels good on my back. All right, so eventually we're gonna stop doing that. And I want you to have some space between your heels and your groin, so it's not like your heels are right up against your groin. And we're gonna use the thumbs now on the padded part under your toes, and you're gonna open up your feet like you're reading a good book. I've been saying that for so long, it's kind of scary. Elbows are gonna stay towards your body. You're gonna inhale with your spine long. Exhale, reach your forehead towards the padded part of your feet. Long stretch through the back body. Now, we're gonna stay here for a few breaths, but if it feels better to you to inhale up and exhale forward, you can make it a dynamic pose as opposed to like holding the position. Now on an inhale, we're gonna lift up. We're gonna bring those hands behind us, and you're gonna take your right knee and bring it onto the left. And you're gonna press with your knees. Does that make sense? And I want you to notice what happens as you press with your knees. Now, if this is causing you difficulty on your hands, you could have your elbows on blocks. Okay, but you're gonna press with your knees and notice where you feel sensation through the line of your body. Keep breathing. And then we're gonna inhale back to center, and you're gonna move to the second side. And again, pressing with the knees. And you might be like, what does that mean? You know, but notice when you press with your knees where you feel sensation. Keep breathing. And again, on an inhale, we're gonna come back through the center. And this is where you might have a rolled up mat or blanket or some bolsters if you have those at home. And what we're going to do, we're going to take our roll, and we're gonna put it at the base of our shoulder blades, right? So the roll is gonna go right, like for people who wear bras, it would be like kind of right where the bra line is, just under the chest, right? And then you're gonna stretch your arms out to the sides, like make a T with your arms. And you could have your legs straight, or if that's uncomfortable, you'll bend your knees and then walk your feet out and let your knees drop into the center. And for a few breaths, I just want you to focus on how your torso feels as you're breathing in. And make sure, like, so this roll for some of us, like depending on flexibility of the spine, it could be uncomfortable, so make your roll smaller, like use a little hand towel or, and if that's even too much, like don't use anything, just have your back flat on the ground and breathe. So what I notice as I breathe here is I feel like I am able to pull in more oxygen, more breath, more prana, right? So notice what you're aware of. So when you start to feel complete with this, and some of you may want to stay here longer, you're gonna roll to the side, use your hands to assist you in sitting up, and we're gonna take that roll, and now it's going to go under the head and spine. And again, some of you might use blocks here or a bolster, and your butt is gonna be on the floor. I'm gonna pull that mat right up to my low back, and then come down, and if your head hangs off, you might have something else underneath your head, a folded blanket or a block. And then I'm gonna sit with my feet together and my knees opened out to the side, but you, again, can have your knees bent, pressing into the center, or your legs stretched out long. And while you're here, now I want you to think about the sides of your body, right? Your hips, your shoulders, reaching to the ground as the center, the front of your spine, your heart center, and the front of the body opens up. Long, smooth breaths. So again, you might feel like you're ready to move from this position, or you might feel like staying a little bit longer. If you're going to move, again, you bring your knees together, roll over to the side, have your hands help you to sit up. And from here, when you're ready, we're going to make our way into a position for Shavasana. So Shavasana, corpse pose, or final relaxation, whatever you want to call it, our most important pose in yoga, because it allows us to relax in our busy world and to integrate all that's going on in our mind, our body, our energy body. So get yourself into a comfortable and warm position. As you start to settle in, check in with your body. Is there anything else that would help physical body to be more comfortable so that your mind and spirit and energy body can move to that quiet place? Starting to bring your awareness to your body and breath, noticing how you're feeling. That chant that I said was a very small part of a very large chant. It's about planting seeds. And I was thinking that even with the rain this morning and the first day of spring and the longer days. Spring, of course, is a wonderful time to plant seeds, and astrologically, this is a beautiful time to plant seeds as well as we start the new astrological year. And so, as you start to make your way up into a seated position, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart center. And we're going to keep the heels of the hands together and the thumbs at the sternum, and you're going to bring your pinkies together. So pinkies touching, thumbs touching, heels of the hands, and you're going to stretch out your fingers. And not only do you notice what's happening in your forearms as you do this, but I want you to think about at least one seed that's very important to you that you have been thinking about cultivating or are cultivating. Maybe it hasn't been, put into the soil yet. I want you to think about that as you feel your thumbs resting in your sternum and your 3 fingers in the center reaching away. You're just going to focus on your breath. One of the reasons I had you breathe with the bowl behind your rib cage was to assist us with breathing here, right? So you're pressing into your sternum, fingers pulling away. If it's too much, like in your forearms, then you stop pulling with the fingers. And you're going to breathe right into your heart center. And you're thinking about or reflecting on like the most important seed to you right now, whatever that is. So it could be like working on, fixing, developing a relationship or business or a job or something in your home or education, something to do with self-care. Whatever it is, you're contemplating, and maybe you're contemplating how you're going to, or when you're going to plant that seed if you have not done so. And very gently, we're going to take the fingers and we're going to interlace them. And you're going to press your palms away and inhale, reach your arms up overhead. So now your butt's pressing into the floor and your hands are pressing up towards the sky. And you're thinking about that seed that you planted, and you might reach your arms over to the side a little bit. Inhale, center, and exhale as you move to each side. And then we're going to release the fingers, open your palms up towards the sky, take a nice big in-breath, and then we're going to ohm to our heart. Om. thank you for joining me today, and may your seeds grow and blossom and flourish, and for the best, for the highest good of you and everyone in your life and on the planet. Namaste.